Actually, I found out that there was a lot more serial killers than just one operating in my area around that time, and I will tell you all about it. And this one's actually a lot more famous. You may have heard of him, the Weepy Voice Killer. And it all started January 1st, 1980 with Karen Paddock. Karen was a typical 20-year-old girl just hanging out on New Year's with her friends, partying in the downtown cities area. Because I learned this, there's a University Avenue in the middle of the cities, and one side is St. Paul and one side is Minneapolis. So she's hanging out in the cities area, just partying with her friends. And it's unclear if she wanders out of the bar or if she's leaving the bar to go home, but either way, she's left the bar and she still has a drink in her hand, like she's sipping, walking down the street, and suddenly a man approaches her in his car. Now remember, it's January 1st, she's young, she's drunk, this guy pulls up next to her and he's probably like, hey, my car's warm, I'll give you a ride, and somehow he coaxes her into his car. And a couple hours later, the police get a phone call from the Weepy Voice Killer, and he says this.
Please, this is an emergency. Please send a squad to Pierce Butler Road, Molenberg Manufacturing Company, machine shop. Please, there's an ambulance too. There's a girl hurt there.
Can you tell me what happened to her?
Just hurry. She's laying on the ground in the back by the railroad tracks, by the edge here. Hurry.
What's the address?
I don't know.
Now, the police at first think it's a prank. They don't believe that this guy's like being 100% serious, but they do send an ambulance and police officers down that way, and that's when they find Karen. She's found beaten with a tire iron, stripped down, completely naked, left in the snow behind a factory by some railroad track. And Karen actually survives. She survives. She lives, but she's had such significant brain and head trauma and damage that she can't remember anything. Probably, thankfully, she does not remember any of that night whatsoever, so she can't really help the police with who this guy was, where did he pick her up, what did he look like, what was his car. She has no recollection, so she can't help. Then on June 3rd of 1981, Kimberly Compton is just moving from Wisconsin. So it's her very first day in Minnesota. She just moved from Wisconsin to come to Minnesota to start a new life. She's so excited. She's 18. She's an adult. She's so excited to start her new life. And that very day, he abducts her. He calls 911 and he says this.
Oh, you find me? I just stabbed somebody with an ice pick. I can't stop myself. I keep killing somebody. Don't talk, just listen. I'm sorry what I did to Compton. I couldn't help it. Don't know why I had to stab her. I am so upset about it. I keep getting drunk every night. I can't believe it. It's like a big dream. I can't think of being locked up. If I get locked up, I'll kill myself. I'd rather kill myself than get locked up. I'll try not to kill anybody else.
Now, it's unsure where he found her, like how he picked her up, whether it be at like a Greyhound bus station or if it was like at a diner, if he just saw her or if he actually kidnapped her. Nobody really knows. But she was found stabbed over 60 times with an ice pick. And some say that he wanted to make sure that she didn't end up like Karen, alive. So he took off one of her shoelaces and then strangled her. And he actually waited multiple hours to make that phone call. They didn't have any leads on who could have done this to Kimberly, but they were sure that it was the guy that also must have done this to Karen, because they both made the Weepy Voice phone call and nobody else knew that Kimberly was stabbed with an ice pick. So they knew that they could definitely correlate these two. Then on August 5th of 1982, which I believe is like 42 or 43 years later to the day of today, because today is August 5th, Barbara Simmons was out at a bar. Now, she's a 40-year-old nurse, again, just hanging out, having fun with her friends at a bar, and she meets this guy, and they hit it off really well, and they become pretty good friends throughout the night. So when he offers to give her a ride home, she's like, yeah, sure, I think it'll be fine. You seem like a nice guy. I can trust you. So she actually goes up to one of the bartenders and says, hey, this guy's going to give me a ride home. I hope he's okay. And unfortunately, later, 911 gets a Weepy Voice phone call.
Don't talk, just listen. I'm sorry I killed that girl. I stabbed her 40 times. Kimberly Compton was the first one over St. Paul. I don't know what's the matter with me. I'm sick. I'm going to kill myself, I think.
Where are you?
I'm just going to... If somebody dies with a red shirt on, it's me. I killed both people. I'll never make it to heaven.
So he took her down to the Mississippi River, stabbed her over 100 times, and then her body was found later the next day. And this next girl is the one who gets him caught. Her name is Denise Williams. And on August 21st of 1982, she's in the downtown St. Paul area working as a sex worker when he pulls up to her and picks her up. So he drives her out, they do what they need to do, and on the way back, she realizes that he's not taking her back to the right area, so she questions him about it, and there's some sort of squabble, whether it's about her not believing him for bringing him back or her needing to pay him for gas. Something happens and they start fighting, and he attacks her with a screwdriver, and so she fights back and she finds a bottle, and she takes the bottle and she hits him over the head with it, and the bottle breaks. So she starts using the broken glass in her hand to cut away at his face, and finally she's able to get out of the car and run away to a nearby gas station and call for help. But he realizes he's met his match, so he speeds away. He goes home, but when he gets home, he realizes that he's a lot more injured than he initially thought he was. And when Denise calls 911 and she goes to the hospital, she tells them everything. She tells them about what just happened to her. So the police are kind of aware of someone that might be calling in to get help for some facial injuries, but they're also aware of the weepy voice killer. When the guy calls 911, he's not calling 911 as the weepy voice killer, but he's not calling 911 in a very calm manner either. So the 911 operator clocks it immediately. They're like, this is the weepy voice killer. And he's got the similar facial injuries that Denise is describing, so we know that this is the guy. When the ambulance pulls up, they open up the back doors and the police are there waiting for him. I just had to say, go off Denise. That's amazing. She fought so hard that she prevented any more murders and she saved her own life. I love Denise. I love Denise. So who is this guy? Who is the weepy voice killer? Paul Michael Stefani. Or Stephanie, I'm not sure. It ends in an I. He was born in Austin, Minnesota, and he was born to a very strict Catholic household. So I guess his mom and his dad got divorced, and his mom remarried, and his stepdad was just as religious, like very, very controlling and religious. And I'm not 100% sure if there was abuse in the home, but I'm guessing with as strict as they were, they probably didn't spare the rod. He had 10 siblings, so I'm not really 100% sure how much his parents actually were able to pay attention to him. Nothing against big families, I'm just, if somebody's kind of messed up, it might be more easily slid under the radar if you have more siblings and more kids to take care of. You might not notice if one of them is acting really odd. But he was known to have like really violent outbursts, so this is kind of on par for him to be really weird and crazy and violent. So once he was in custody, he was actually charged for the murder of Kimberly and Barbara, and they were able to connect him to those murders, but they weren't able to connect him to Karen. I'm not 100% sure why. But then, in 1997, when he's facing terminal cancer, he starts confessing, and he confesses to one that wasn't even on the police's radar. In July of 1982, Kathleen Greening was about to go on a trip with her friends, so she's just staying at home, hanging out, packing, cleaning, just doing the normal things that you would do before you're about to go on an extensive trip. Now, Paul knew Kathleen. She had a phone book with his name in it, so it's not really clear how he knew her or how they knew each other or even how he showed up that day, but he goes to her house that day and he kills her, and he kills her by strangling her. But what he does is he strangles her by also placing her head underneath a running bathtub. So while the bathtub is running, he's got her face under the water. So initially when the police showed up, they ruled it an accidental death. They didn't know that he was responsible for this or involved in any way. Later, after looking at it a little bit more, they realized that yes, it was a homicide, but they never connected these two because Paul never called 911. Paul never called 911 for her. Maybe he didn't call 911 because they did know each other. He thought that maybe he would get caught easily, or maybe he had like a different sense of guilt with Kathleen, but either way, he never called 911. It's just very interesting and weird. He did eventually confess to Karen's murder as well, but they never had enough evidence to actually officially charge him with it, even though they already kind of knew that it was him because of the phone call, the weepy voice phone call correlating to the murder. Her body was also found at the manufacturing plant that he had previously been fired from, recently been fired from. Some people say that that's why he started this rampage, because he got fired from this manufacturing job and it just broke something in his brain, and so he went a little crazy. But I don't really think so. I think he was kind of always crazy, because if you think about people like the BTK, they got off on terrorizing people and toying with the police. That's why they sent those letters, and that's why he would do those really weird things. And I kind of almost think of these phone calls as kind of like a really weird letter being sent, like a way to make him seem crazy or take control of the situation or to scare people, making them think that he's a little bit more unhinged or in less control than he actually is. And he was targeting people wearing red, so there was a statement from the police saying don't wear red. And I don't know if he just got really excited thinking that he was controlling the population or scaring women into wearing the colors that he wanted them to wear, or not wearing the colors that they want to wear because he has control, or what it was. But I don't think him getting fired from the factory had much to do with him deciding to do this. I think he's just a crazy, weird person. And that's the story of the weepy voice killer who rained terror down for a few years here in St. Paul, Minnesota.